I'm Dr. Steve Scully, CEO and founder of Thaddeus Medical, and we are we're protecting biomedical samples from adverse temperatures, and we're doing that because they're fragile and also because they have the potential to save lives. So, as a medical scientist and a dad, I've vaccinated my kids. We all know the power of vaccines and how important they are. Yet, what I didn't appreciate was how important the cold supply chain is to maintaining these vaccines at an appropriate temperature. In the US, last year, the CDC reported that $300 million was wasted in funding because of improper control and tracking of vaccines. That's just for the US alone last year. It's worse in the developing world where less infrastructure, less funding allows for less tracking, and the WHO reported that 2 years ago, because of improper temperature control, again, 2/3 of the vaccines that were looked at in India were frozen and 15% had gotten too hot. In another country, children were vaccinated with ineffective vaccines and ended up getting measles despite being vaccinated. So this is a large problem, both from a financial standpoint and from a human suffering standpoint. And I've only been talking about vaccines. There's other biological therapies that are much more expensive, as well as specimens that come from the body, so like biopsies or bone marrow harvesting is shown here in this picture. And can you imagine if you were the father of a kid that had to get a bone marrow transplant and it had to be repeated because of the specimen being sent on ice and in a styrofoam container? It's time that we change the way these things are shipped and stored, because these biomedical specimens and products are too precious to risk. With that, I'm proud to introduce from Thaddeus Medical some new technology. It's a platform that provides very tight temperature parameters for biomedical samples, as well as controlling the temperature anywhere from minus 20 degrees Celsius up to 37 degrees Celsius, so body temperature. It provides tracking and documentation so that people can be sure about the history of the samples when they get them. And this was our prototype. It was an ugly baby, and so we pivoted very quickly once we got to Memphis, and we scaled up our platform into a smart cooler to better meet the needs of clinical labs, especially for couriers that are bringing specimens to the clinical labs from doctors' offices. So the smart cooler has 3 separate individually controlled compartments for different specimens that need different temperature requirements. Also provides tracking and documentation so that pathologists can be sure about the samples that they get before they go and make a diagnosis on that test that's been done for the specimen. Our platform technology can also be scaled down as a smart sleeve. And so this is a device that can fit around individual tubes, bottles, or vials, and can provide temperature control, tracking as well, and also has novel security features to prevent counterfeiting and tampering. The benefits of the platform are that we're improving quality control and reliability, as well as saving sample integrity, preserving sample integrity, and we're decreasing the need for repeat procedures and repeat shipments. So if you think about what's being done right now, most couriers are using styrofoam and ice, the same things you'd use with your beverages at a picnic. And so what's also being used if samples are being sent across country are passive technologies like phase change material or foam bricks or gel packs. In rare circumstances, they may use an active technology like a plug-in freezer or incubator, but no one else is making an all-in-one solution with tracking and documentation like Thaddeus. So our go-to-market is that we're going to target logistics managers and operations managers at clinical labs. We're going to offer them a beta-free trial, risk-free trial, and then convert them to paying customers. We initially are going to be charging $100 per month per unit, and we anticipate that the average large lab will use about 50 of these units in their operations, and we anticipate that $600,000 will be generated per lab per year in recurring revenue. Over the course of 5 years, We believe that we can go from getting 10 labs committed in the first year and generating $600,000. In the third year, generating $4.2 million and being profitable at that point, and then also in the fifth year, generating $20 million in recurring revenue. And that's just for diagnostics, and it doesn't include the sleeve, which is going to be coming up later because it requires more research and development. The Thaddeus Medical team is exceptionally equipped to launch these products in the market right now. I've got 10 years of biomedical laboratory experience and 4 years at Mayo Clinic as a research fellow. And I'm very passionate about protecting these biomedical samples from adverse temperatures. Samuel Prabhakar is the brains behind the platform technology, has been very resourceful in scaling it up and down. And Hoyt Morgan, CEO of a software company, and has multiple leadership roles at startups and has had many successful exits with startups. Tracy McNeil has 15 years of experience as Chief Strategy Officer and Executive Vice President, and has had 15 years of experience, medical device experience and regulatory experience. So our progress to date since we got to Memphis has been accelerated. It's been almost a year since our first patent was filed, and we got $25,000 in initial funding. Since coming to Memphis, we got an additional $25,000 in funding. We had 2 more patents filed. We got our functional prototype working, and we're also a member of the CBU Packaging Consortium. And what I'm most proud to tell you about is that we've got commitment from 2 labs in Memphis to be beta partners. Thank you. Thank you. And so looking forward, we're asking for $750,000, a third of that which will be used to launch our beta units and the beta partnership here in Memphis. We'll then be using $500,000 over the course of the next 2 years to ramp up manufacturing, sales, and marketing. So, with that, thank you very much for your time and attention. We're saving lives one vial at a time.